So, could we be heading to another federal election? Well, I guess suppose in a minority government, you're always headed towards a federal election. But now we're hearing rumors from liberals and others on Parliament Hill that that very well could be the case if the budget does not pass coming next week. Hello, I'm Adrienne Batra. With me are Brian Lilley and Lorrie Goldstein. Okay, Brian, we know that this is a consequential budget for Canada. Our economy is in trouble. The Bank of Canada is raising the alarm bell. The parliamentary budget officer is raising the alarm bell about Canada's fiscal guardrails or lack thereof. And then we get this tweet this morning about budget priorities from the Prime Minister. Let's have a look at it. This is where it seems that he wants to focus on his budget priority, but we're hearing on one hand there's going to be austerity, on another hand we need to grow, on one hand we need to rein things in. It seems to be all over the place for the guy that we were all supposed to trust with the finances, being a central banker. Brian.
Well, it's still going to be a liberal budget, whether it's Mark Carney or not. And so they've got to have something in there for regarding gender and sexuality and, to show that it's a truly progressive budget. Remember, Justin Trudeau's one of his main demands when they were renegotiating NAFTA a few years ago was we need to improve the gendered language. He wasn't looking for market access for Canadian producers. He wanted to make sure that there was proper gendered language in there. That still is the sort of thing that resonates in the Liberal Party, even though they've changed leaders to Mark Carney. Look, will the budget pass or fail? I've been of the view that it will pass. They will find a way that we're not headed towards an election. And then the other day, I read a great piece by Fred Lorrie, who was Aaron O'Toole's campaign manager in the 2021 campaign, and he said, we are absolutely headed to an election. Talked to a bunch of people over the last little while, and I'm back to my position. We're only going to an election if Carney and the Liberals want one. They control the budget. They control what's in it. They need to present a budget that will find the support of one of the opposition parties and have people not show up. The Conservatives have made some demands, including keep the deficit at $42 billion. Considering that was a liberal projection on the deficit, I think that's valid. But of course, they can't do that. So they're calling the Conservatives unrealistic. But most of the chatter that I'm hearing about an election is coming from the Liberals in question period. I think they raised the election and claims that we're headed to a Christmas election 20 times on Wednesday. So it's the Liberals pushing this idea. And one Liberal told me, we are ready to go and we can win it. The Conservatives have the money, but they're not planning for this, but they have enough money already raised to run an entire national election campaign. The NDP doesn't have a leader. They don't have any money. And, the Bloc, I don't think they want an election either.
So, Lorrie, of course, we were sold the bill of goods throughout the course of the first campaign just a few short months ago that the Liberals are going to be the only ones that are able to get a deal with Donald Trump. So, fast forward many months later, the relationship between Canada and the U.S. is at an all-time low. It's not good. But Canadians are probably wondering to themselves, well, how is it possible that we're going to potentially have another election? Well, it's a money bill. If the budget doesn't pass, then that's not confidence in the government. It's minority. So then we are thrust into another campaign. Just so to put those logistics in how this will potentially unfold. But Lorrie, the premise of the election victory for the Liberals was elbows up. Well, elbows are down, no deal. Does a potential election within a month's time benefit them? Do they look at this as an opportune time and say, look, the opposition parties aren't doing anything? We're on the cusp of a majority. Let's go for it. Could they be manufacturing this themselves?
Well, absolutely. Look, when whoever it was, the House leader started this, a while back, like the opposition parties are being unreasonable. We may be plunged into an election. Just deconstruct that. Who controls the budget? It's not the opposition parties, it's the Liberals. Which party has the responsibility of delivering a budget that the House will support? It's the Liberals. to anticipate when nobody's seen the budget what the other parties are going to do is absurd. Like if I was the conservative leader, I would say we don't know what's in the budget. Let's wait and see. Now, he has talked about the 42 billion, and that's not going to happen, and yada yada yada. But I think you just hit it in your remarks. I think the Liberals thought that 7 months ago they were on the way to a majority, and you could see that the night of the election, when the Atlantic provinces weren't quite at the level that they needed for a majority. They were downhearted because remember some of the pollsters were going, yeah, the votes, but when the vote breaks, it's going to be a Liberal majority, and they came up with 3 votes short, right? And so I think what they're thinking is that, you know what, a narrative that we need to have a majority to take on Trump is bet, and with the polls showing while the two parties are close, people trust Carney more than Poilievre. It's a better story for us right now to run an election than to, which would basically wipe out all the negotiations. Okay, now we don't have to talk about the negotiations because nobody cares, right? In terms of what happens historically, and you're right, in every minority government, there's always the constant thing of an election, and parties use that politically. If there is an election, everybody will yell about it. Like Canadians don't want it. There's a contingent in the Liberal and Conservative parties that want it, but most Canadians don't want it. And so, but eventually people go, well, we have to vote, right? And so I think what the Liberal argument is that our guy's more popular than the Conservative guy. Like they've got their own problems. They've got a leadership race. If we win this election, Poilievre's gone because it'll be 2 times. And the problem for me is that none of this is what the Canadian people want. Well, Canadians can't vote for a minority government. The result of that election 7 months ago was that, okay, this new guy, Carney, fine, he's going to be the leader, and we want you working together for the good of the country. That's what we want, right? There was a little of that initially. Remember the tax cut that both the Conservatives and Liberals supported? That got through. The nation building projects legislation, that got through. The premiers were all gathering around with Carney. We're all, I've never seen unity like this. Carney's having coffee with Ford. Blah 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 blah. That's all great, but to me, it's just that Ottawa to me, they're so out of touch with ordinary people who are worried about, you see CB and they put on the lobbyists and the political strategists and blah, 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 blah. Meanwhile, housing's a mess. It's impossible for, young people today. They're the first generation today who are probably going to end up worse off than their parents. I mean, that's astounding. I do the grocery shopping. My family fortunately has the money that we're not affected by, but I know, don't tell me that grocery prices aren't out of control, because they are.
Yeah, and that's not just good. Once again, shows just how out of touch. I think, frankly, all of them are. Brian, you did mention, of course, the NDP doesn't have any money. They don't have a leader. They wouldn't be spoiling for an election anytime soon. The Conservatives are obviously in a very different position. They have the money. They still have a leader who's supported by his party. But do the Conservatives want an election?
No, they don't. But could we be propelled into one? Again, I say if we have one, it's only because Mark Carney and the Liberals want one. But I don't see how you campaigned on can deal with Donald Trump in the last election. You've only dealt badly with Trump, and you're going to go to the polls after talks have broken off, and Trump is posting that I don't even want to see that Carney guy on social media. Like, what's your campaign slogan? Elbows back up. Um, and on all the other issues that Lorrie was mentioning there, grocery prices, housing, affordability, guess who polls better on those issues? So if we have an election, it's hard for the Liberals to campaign on Trump. They'll find a way to do it. But part of that narrative is going to ring hollow with an awful lot of Canadians now. And on the other issues, we've just had the governor of the Bank of Canada, Tiff Macklem, come out and talk about how unless certain things are done, your standard of living is going to get lower because of the way the economy is going. And everything that he says needs to be done is a government choice. I don't think the government is moving in the direction of increasing productivity. They are not unleashing our economy. They're not doing what Mark Carney said. I hate to keep going back to the line, but he said we need to think big, act bigger, and move at speeds not seen in generations. We're not doing that. And so we will see a lower standard of living for our kids and grandkids going forward because we're not willing to let our economy boom. And then we're going to blame it on the Americans again? No, an awful lot of this, the majority of this, is our fault. Poilievre will be out there saying he will do these things to drive the economy. And so it's a real risk. I think the most likely scenario, if we went to an election right now, would be another minority. There's a real chance that it could change parties. And if that's the case, and something breaks in the campaign, guess what? Either party could get a majority as well. Is that a risk you want to take when you have your hands on the levers of power?
Yes, as one Brian Lilley always says, campaigns matter, all of those important elements, Lorrie, and anything can happen. But last comment to you. Let's just game this out a little bit. If the Liberals put poison pills, so to speak, in the budget, Conservatives absolutely cannot support these things. Couldn't they just abstain and not even vote, and the budget will pass just purely with a handful of NDPers and likely the bloc?
Oh, that can always happen. That certain people don't show up, blah blah blah. Away it goes. I just think that look, the Liberals' last minority government lasted for a long time because of the deal with the NDP, right? And the NDP control the purse strings. They can find stuff that convinces either the 7 NDPers or enough members of the bloc, with special treatment for the Quebec. It's not like that's unknown for the Liberals to get this thing passed. And as Brian says, the issue is solely, do they want to or do they not want to? And to me, I agree with Brian. If there is an election, just look at it logically. If there's an election because of a budget that the Liberal government puts out that the opposition parties collectively can't support, then who's responsible for the election? It's the Liberal. They're just they act like they're still in opposition. They've been in power for 10 years, and they still act as if they're the opposition. It's all these other, dictatorial conservative government, who, by the way, we steal their ideas from over and over again. I mean, thank heavens Poilievre had a campaign platform in the last election where Carney wouldn't have known what to do. So just get a grip on yourselves. And frankly, if you want a majority, then be honest about it. Just say, we want the majority we thought we were going to get 7 months ago. And because we didn't get it, we're going to spend another $600 million of your taxpayers' money so we can try again. It's absurd.
Well, it could appear that the Liberals are manufacturing their own budget defeat in order to have electoral success. But will it work? I'm going to guess we're not going to an election. Like this video and subscribe to our YouTube channel and go to the TorontoSun.com. You'll find commentary and coverage there you will not find anywhere else.